So when you look at what Scott Harris has to do this upcoming offseason, where does Miguel Cabrera rank as far as to-do list number one? Look, it was announced that he's coming back. Okay, I don't want him to be an everyday player. If you can guarantee me that he's just going to be a platoon guy, maybe start once or twice a week, okay, I can deal with that. It still makes no sense. Unless for some reason when he plays for Venezuela in the WBC or he lives in Florida, the Fountain of Youth, Ponce de Leon, whatever, and suddenly his knees become, great again and he gets his power back. But that ain't going to happen. They cannot have the corpse of Miguel Cabrera on this team again. I don't care under what circumstances.
So, Stoney, I'm adamantly with you on this. I will be just disgusted if he's playing every day and he's hitting in the top 6 or 7 even. Again, if he's an 8th or 9th hitter and he plays 3 days a week, I can deal with that. That's the absolute max. I'm sorry. There comes a point in time. They did the nice thing this year. He got his milestone in a Tiger uniform. I admit that had to happen, and as a result, we had to deal with him batting where he batted. He had 5 home runs this year, a 622 OPS. He had Victor Martinez's last year. He does not belong back here, and I understand you got to pay him. The ruthless decision here, the right decision, is to pay him and say bye. And I kind of felt like last week when Scott Harris made his comments that they owe him to be here or whatever. And I don't like that. And if he is the everyday DH next year, or let's say even this year he had 400 at-bats. If he has 400 at-bats again, that's a strike against Scott Harris for me. I'm sorry. The right decision here is somebody's got to be a D sometimes. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. Somebody's got to take over.
You're getting your money, Maggie.
Unless,
especially if he's coming back as your DH. Those are the numbers that you can't have from your designated hitter where his job is to actually hit.
Right, designated hitter. Now, the only way that Scott Harris does not get a demerit is in those 400 bats. Like we said, somehow he finds a fountain of youth and is good again.
How is that going to happen?
I don't know.
This is pipe dream, and I am not reading a Lynn Henning story next year about Miggy looks like he used to.
I know.
It's over, people. It is over. He has 61 home runs in 6 seasons. Okay?
Aaron Judge had 62 this year.
Yeah. Again, production-wise, Harold Castro produced better this year. He had more hits by 13. He had 20 more at-bats, 2 more home runs. Batting average was 23 points higher.
Oh, you got that hitting Harold love, huh?
Making a comparison.
You know what Harold Castro is a number 8 or 9 hitter in a lineup that you have a position or two in baseball that you sometimes just get split time to, much like a catcher. Right. There's usually another guy in the lineup that's not an everyday player. Unfortunately, that's not supposed to be your designated hitter.
I agree.
And I know I'm coming across as a douchey because I'm passionate about this. This is a joke. And I'll say this much. I heard last night on Rieger and Wojo, you can be critical of A.J. Hinch, I think especially for his starts to the season. Mm-hmm. And I think he would own that, and I think he will address it. He's on with you guys next Tuesday for kind of like a last season wrap-up thing. I believe A.J. Hinch deserves an opportunity to manage this team without this albatross. Okay? He's had to manage, and he fully understood the PR side of this. If I go to a game next year, and I like this year, I went in May and then I went in June, like 3 weeks later, and the home run total hadn't changed. If I see those signs out there again, that's a joke. That's minor league. Okay? Take the numbers down now. He got 503,000. It's embarrassing. You sit there and you tell your kid, yeah, I thought the number was the same the last time we were here. You know what, Connor? It was. He's great. He's a Hall of Famer. But it's over.
Right.
And the right thing to do here, a big league organization buys this guy out.
Make him your batting coach. Make him take the rookies to coffee like he did yesterday. Yeah. I mean, he can't play every day anymore. It's so obvious.
And we're also looking at this as fans, too, fans of Miguel Cabrera, where we want to remember him as the Triple Crown winner. And we don't want to have these memories of the final years where, the final 5 years he only hits 61. And the last year he hits 5. I mean, if the numbers continue to go down, next year he's going to hit 2 or none?
The Triple Crown was 10 years ago? It'll be next year, right?
Yeah.
It's 2013.
10 years this year.
Oh, it was 2012,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 12. Yeah. You're right, 10 years. And that's enough. All right.
I think the 6-year thing has kind of, I think that's eye-opening when you
it
say
is.
61 home runs in 6 seasons.
It is. And look,
And yeah,
obviously
one was
COVID. Right. I get that. It's terrible. Let me ask you this, Gov. Death not an option. Miguel Cabrera or Gregory Soto is back next year.
Oh, you didn't say as a closer, so I'd say Soto.
As a closer. As a closer.
I just pulled a Wojo, didn't
Yes,
I?
as a closer.
I would actually take Soto as a closer. I can't deal with this anymore as a Tiger fan. I honestly just think it's a slap in the face to anybody that's paying for a ticket. I do. I don't want to see him anymore. It's not pretty. This year was an awesome moment.
Right, that's fine.
Okay, when he got the record or the 3,000 hits.
Look,
But-
Willie Mays was my first baseball hero, and watching him play for the Mets when he was decrepit and all, it's sad. We don't need
but
that.
here's the other thing too: is at the beginning of the season, really up until the All-Star break, he was leading the Tigers in batting average.
Correct.
And was the only one that you could look at and say, well, at least he's getting on base. Now, there were a bunch of singles.
Right.
But at least he was getting on base. If you spread what he did in the first year over the course of a year, and you say he's only going to play once every 5 days or once every 6 days or, whatever it might be, and you're able to get that production out of him for that little bit, at least it's something. And if there's somebody else in the organization that's going to hit, let's just say he does that over the course of a year in those limited number of at-bats, 300, who else is going to do that?